Hi, I'm Jeff Murrah. Welcome to True Texas History, and today we're going to be dealing with the question, what happened in Galveston, Texas on June 19th, 1865? A lot of the press is focused on that with the Juneteenth celebration and the making of a federal holiday. But what did happen there? Well, one of the things that happened that you don't often hear about is that a delegation consisting of General James Harrison and Thomas McKinney Jack, one of the local bigwig lawyers, met with the Union General to discuss terms of surrender for the Confederate forces and turning over the government of Texas. These men had seen some evidences of the chaos of in the aftermath of a war, because when one army leaves, another one comes in, and there's usually a lot of damage and pilfering and vandalism. They didn't want that to happen to Texas. Texas meant a lot to them, so they wanted to take steps, organized steps, to have a peaceful transition of power. Keep in mind that at the conclusion of the war, only two state capitals had not been burned or were not burned as part of the course of the war, and Texas is one of them. And I think that through the action of people like General James Harrison and Thomas McKinney Jack, it made a difference in terms of turning over the power, because they wanted to make sure the transition was smooth. Because Granger was coming in, he was kind of a last-minute replacement because the appointed governor was going to be someone else, and it would be a few days before he was here. Granger was given full military authority to do what he needed to. Keep in mind, at that point, Texas was no longer considered a state. We were considered a military district. Granger issued General Order 3. Have you ever read General Order 3? Let me read it to you. The people of Texas are informed that in accordance with a proclamation of the Executive of the United States, all slaves are free. Notice, this is an executive order. This is not an act of Congress. This is not a law. This is an executive order, going back to the Emancipation Proclamation. This involves the absolute equality of personal rights and rights of property owners between former masters and slaves. And the connection heretofore existing between them becomes that between an employer and hired labor. So it literally says, we're doing away with slavery. It's now becoming master of employer, employee. And then the next part, the freedmen are advised to remain quietly at their present homes and work for wages. They are informed that they will not be allowed to collect at military posts, and that they will not be supported in idleness there or elsewhere. So it was also trying to do away with people just lollygagging around, and if anything, it was a proclamation encouraging people to get back to work. And so there's an irony to declaring a holiday for something that was declared to work. And then there's the whole Emancipation Proclamation that only declared slaves free. In the Confederate States, they were still slaves. Slavery still existed in places like Delaware and Kentucky and some of the northern states. Slavery did not end until the 13th Amendment was passed. And so proclaiming June 19th as the day that it ended, it's a falsehood. They were declared free in Texas, and that became the basis of the celebration. They're not sure where it was read, although local tradition has it was read at Ashton Villa. There's some people that speculate that it was never read aloud, but rather posted in various public places throughout the city of Galveston. This was one in a series of orders that Granger issued to go ahead and transition Texas into, well, it was undecided whether it was going to be a state again or they were going to keep it under the thumb of Union occupation. Actually, Granger was removed from office by August because some of the higher-ups did not like his policies and some of the things that he had put into place. So this is why it's important to, when you're reading history, to understand things in context, and with proclamations, read the whole thing. Don't just read the parts that you like and not read the rest, because when you do that, you come up with the wrong conclusions. And so that's one reason why it's important to read the whole thing and understand what's going on. I hope that clears things up for y'all. Thank you for tuning in, and until next time, this is Jeff Murrah wishing you vaya con Dios, my friends. Goodbye.